It was a beautiful day in the peaceful garden. At the entrance of the garden, there were orange trumpet flowers hanging from the tall arbor that called visitors to the garden. Purple, pink, and blue morning glories had opened and were hung along the white winding gate that surrounded the garden. Bright red, yellow, and pink flowers were budding while various other flowers had already blossomed. There was a purple butterfly bush in full bloom in the peaceful garden. The monarch butterfly, a yellow butterfly, 2 bees, 1 moth, 2 wasps, and 1 mosquito were soaring from one flower to the next, suckling the juices of each flower. A worm stuck his head out from the ground and smiled as it looked around the garden. There was a beautiful water garden with a small natural cascading waterfall. Glass-gazing balls that decorated the peaceful garden mirrored the sun and the blue sky. Several caterpillars were crawling up the side of a red one-car garage toward the branches of the largest apple tree one couldn't imagine. A white wooden swinging chair for 2 hung from one of the apple's tree's 7 strong branches. The tree was home to a nest with 3 baby bluebirds without any feathers, and the mother bluebird and the father bluebird. 2 squirrels were hugging, laughing, and smiling while they played in the garden. Nearby, the skunk family was having fun too. The yellow butterfly said,
"This is a beautiful day in the peaceful garden."
Later that day, dark clouds formed and covered the sun and the blue sky. The monarch butterfly, a yellow butterfly, 2 bees, 1 moth, 2 wasps, 1 mosquito, 2 squirrels, the bluebird family, the caterpillars, the skunk family, and the worm stopped and looked up at the darkening sky with surprise. The peaceful garden insects and the animals became paralyzed with fear when the light from the sun completely disappeared. The yellow butterfly said,
"This has turned into an unbelievable day."
Gusts of wind created cyclones of green leaves and garbage that flew through the once peaceful garden. The squirrels ran into a burrow for safety, but that was soon flooded by torrential rain. The squirrels then ran through the door of a red brick garage and huddled together inside the dark garage. The monarch butterfly, a yellow butterfly, 2 bees, 1 moth, 2 wasps, and 1 mosquito linked wings and hid in the purple butterfly bush until it was too windy to hold on any longer. The bluebirds sunk deep into their nest. The worm hid its head in the ground. The caterpillars crawled into an open garage window for shelter. The skunk family found refuge in a garbage can that had flown into the garden. The skunk's eyes widened with fear as they watched other garbage cans roll on the ground and fly through the air. The yellow butterfly said,
"This has turned into the scariest day ever."
The day after the storm, the once peaceful garden was a terrible sight to see. The wind had blown garbage from nearby homes into the garden. The glass-gazing balls that had decorated the garden were shattered. The waterfall was damaged. Many flowers were bent or broken at their stems. The purple butterfly bush that had once protected and fed the monarch butterfly, a yellow butterfly, 2 bees, 1 moth, 2 wasps, and 1 mosquito was pulled halfway out of the ground. Lightning had struck the apple tree, cracking one of its limbs. This frightened the bluebird family, whose nest sat on a nearby branch. The squirrels, who had run into the garage for safety, now felt sad as they looked through the window at the damaged garden. The yellow butterfly said,
"This is a miserable day."
On the 4th day after the storm, the sun came out and gleamed through the light gray clouds, illuminating the garden. The insects and animals began to come out of their shelters. There was pain in their hearts as they looked around the garden. One of the skunks noticed that the yellow butterfly was wounded and screamed,
"Look at the yellow butterfly. It has lost parts of both its wings."
The monarch butterfly, 2 bees, 1 moth, 2 wasps, and 1 mosquito, the worm who brought a kind-hearted friend along, 2 skunks, the mother bluebird, and the 2 squirrels were angry to see the 2 torn wings on the yellow butterfly. The wounded yellow butterfly said,
"This is a why me day."
On the 5th day after the storm, the monarch butterfly, 2 bees, 1 moth, 2 wasps, 1 mosquito, 2 squirrels, the bluebird family, the caterpillars, the skunk family, and the worm began to clean up the garden. Despite having injured wings, the wounded yellow butterfly was able to help clean up the garden with the others and thought that some of the garbage was recyclable. The wounded yellow butterfly said,
"This is cleanup day."
The wounded yellow butterfly sifted through the garbage and uncovered a cardboard paper towel tube and had an idea and excitedly said,
Let's all make a kaleidoscope.
The wounded yellow butterfly colored the paper towel tube yellow, using the pistils from the white daisies. The skunk family gathered silver foil and placed it inside the paper towel tube to reflect light from the sun. Two squirrels then put the beautiful and colorful bits of glass from the broken glass gazing balls between two pieces of cellophane and placed it carefully at the top end of the cardboard paper towel tube. The monarch butterfly, 2 bees, 1 moth, 2 wasps, and 1 mosquito wrapped a blue ribbon around the top of the tube to hold the cellophane in place, while a good-natured caterpillar ate through the bottom of the tube, making an eye hole in the middle to look through. Then the monarch butterfly, 2 bees, 1 moth, 2 wasps, and 1 mosquito tied a beautiful bow with blue ribbon that held the cellophane around the top end of the paper towel roll. Once the kaleidoscope was completed, the squirrels and skunks held the bottom of the kaleidoscope, while the monarch butterfly, 2 bees, 1 moth, 2 wasps, and 1 mosquito tried lifting the top part of the kaleidoscope toward the sun. But the kaleidoscope was too heavy, and it fell back to the ground. The wounded yellow butterfly wanted help lift the kaleidoscope, but thought it would be impossible to ever fly again. The wounded yellow butterfly said,
This is a challenging day.
Mysteriously, the wounded yellow butterfly gathered up a lot of courage and with great determination flew up toward the blue sky and warm sun to hold up the kaleidoscope along with the monarch butterfly, 2 bees, 1 moth, 2 wasps, and 1 mosquito. Everyone cheered.
Hooray! Hooray! Hooray!
Everyone was curious and got a chance to look into the kaleidoscope, as the animals and insects took turns rotating and looking through the eye hole of the kaleidoscope. The light entering the top end created never-ending, vibrant, colorful designs. The following morning, as the wind blew softly through the peaceful garden, the sound of a wind chime that now hung from the new branch of the apple tree was heard by all in the garden. The monarch butterfly, the wounded yellow butterfly, 2 bees, 1 moth, 2 wasps, 1 mosquito, 2 squirrels, the bluebird family, the caterpillars, the skunk family, and the worm paused to listen to the wind chime and remembered of things past for a brief moment. The wounded yellow butterfly said,
This is Remembrance Day.
It was a sunny day in the peaceful garden. At the entrance of the garden, there were orange trumpet flowers hanging from the tall arbor that called visitors to the garden. Purple, pink, and blue morning glories had opened and were hung along the white winding gate that surrounded the garden. Bright red, yellow, and pink flowers were budding, while various other flowers had already blossomed. There was a purple butterfly bush in full bloom in the garden. The monarch butterfly, the wounded yellow butterfly, 2 bees, 1 moth, 2 wasps, and 1 mosquito were soaring from one flower to the next, suckling the juices of each flower. 5 new dazzling butterflies emerged from their cocoons and joined in the fun. A worm stuck his head out from the ground and smiled as it looked around the garden. It was a beautiful water garden with a small, natural, cascading waterfall. Glass-gazing balls that decorated the peaceful garden mirrored the sun and the blue sky. A couple of caterpillars were crawling up the side of a red one-car garage toward the branches of the largest apple tree one couldn't imagine. The 2 squirrels were hugging, laughing, and smiling while they swung on the white wooden swinging chair for 2, hanging from one of the apple tree's 7 strong branches. In the peaceful garden, the 3 young bluebirds with beautiful blue feathers played while the mother and father bluebirds sat contentedly on a branch in the apple tree. Nearby, the skunk family was having fun too. The wounded yellow butterfly said,
This is a new day in the peaceful garden.